Hi, Michael. So we are on live and I already made you a host. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make you co-host. And yeah, I'm going to put the recording on. The recording is paused automatically, I see. Okay. Uh, we've been having trouble since the day I started in December last year, all the way through to yesterday, that the class is recording, but Get Set Up can't find the recording. Okay, I can find it. Okay, I know exactly where it is, and I give them the link, but it's not where it's supposed to be going with everybody else's. So Marge has just asked me to send the links every day until they resolve it. So we'll see.
Actually, other guides are asking me about it too, about the recording. Hopefully, they're gonna fix that, but I'll check up on them and follow that up.
Yeah, check with Marge if you're going to communicate, because I've been sending all the links to Marge, and even this morning I've been interacting with her about it. So if you can add any value to Marge, then send. Otherwise, I think it's a Zoom issue.
It's an issue.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll check up with Marge.
Yeah, check in with Marge. Yeah, she's a great help. Okay, and please feel free to participate in the class. Okay.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Phyllis. Hey, nice to see you back. Oh, goodness me.
You okay?
Yeah, dear.
Your light.
My light has just collapsed on me.
Uh-oh.
I'm just trying to see if I can solve it somehow. I'm not sure how or not. Anyway, I've got it hooked up. As long as you can see me. Can you see me all right?
Yes, perfectly.
That's great. All right, then we'll leave it like it broken hanging up. So thanks, Phyllis. And
you're welcome. I'm doing this class consecutively, so I know you said maybe you don't need to do it that way, but if I need to come back for a refresher, I'll do that.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's nice to see you here. And it's nice to see Lil as well. Hello, Lil. And Dorothy. Welcome, Dorothy. Okay. Yeah. So, I think you all were part of yesterday's class, if I recall. Dorothy, were you part of yesterday's class as well? Sorry, I can't hear you. Okay. Now you've muted your mic. Won't you just unmute it and then, yeah. Okay, there you are. You're unmuted now. So were you part of class 1, Dorothy, or not? Okay. Anyway, hello. We got some more people coming in. Okay. And Phyllis is back. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, let's get some sound. I can't hear you. Okay. Your mic's off, but maybe let me just see.
Hello, I'm who's
There, I can hear you now. There you are. There we are. Okay, that's great. And hello to Sick. If I pronounced that correct, CEC.
It's cease. Cease, like cease and desist.
Still haven't caught it. Hey, I'm just an old man.
I called her CC last night. CEC, CC.
Well, it is cease, so that's
cease. Okay, thank you. Sorry
close.
about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure quite how many people have booked in, and So we will continue, and I see Jeannie's come in. Welcome, Jeannie. Okay. And so I'm not going to ask you all why you're here, because I would imagine if you were in yesterday's class, the answer is obvious. You want to take your purpose a little bit further forward. Like, how do I get started on this? Would that be correct, Phyllis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple of ideas that I sort of was playing around with and
Okay.
didn't really, take them too
Excellent.
far. So,
Okay.
so
So
maybe
you've
I
got
could
the-
like light a spark again,
Okay. Right. So that's great, because you must take your time, Phyllis, about getting the what right. You must bring it down to eventually to one. You can find that maybe they combined in some sort of way as well, and that will become obvious. But you need to, in order to go forward, you need to be having a very clear single purpose, and you need to know why. Okay. You may find maybe during this class something will be become clearer to you, but basically the first class is where you want to come to that single idea, that single purpose. So take your time. Even if you now take a few weeks, it's really going to be worthwhile. So yeah, so welcome anyway, all of you, and we go in from the idea that you may have arrived with, even if it's a couple of ideas, and we're now going to say, well, how do we get started? And does anybody want to make any comments right up front about perhaps class one, or just something on your mind at the moment before we start?
I wish I had taken it, but I didn't take it yet. So I'll take it later on if they offer it again.
Yeah, we will probably do it. I don't know, because I only get the schedules put up by Get Set Up once a week. And but this one and the previous one was on Monday morning at the same time as now. So that might be.
I came in late also, and I tried to get a recording and was not available.
Yeah. Now, thanks, Phyllis. I've discovered that this morning is that there's some. I've got the recording. All right. So I can send it to whoever needs it. The recording is there. It's just that Get Set Up for some reason can't find it, and that I give it to them. So I'm not sure. And I've mentioned to Kim, who's our TA today, by the way, and welcome, Kim. She's there to help us with any problem. So if you have not got the recording, which I assume it's all of you, okay?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably catch up. We'll probably catch up tonight. You're probably going to go over the same principles, I would imagine.
Yeah. I've sent yesterday's recording to Marge at Get Set Up, and I've asked her to see that it gets sent out to each person that has requested it. All right.
Okay, I'll request again then. I'll request tonight.
Yeah, I think do that. I'm going to put a bit of pressure now on Get Set Up, because I do have the links. All right. So it's I guess new company problems. So please keep asking, and I will keep sending every day. It takes me about an hour or 2 hours after the class. I get a link automatically sent from Zoom. So I will then pass that on until they resolve this issue. So thanks for mentioning that, Phyllis, because it's going to be the best way to move forward step by step, is to go through those aspects that you want to ponder on from the class. Okay, are there any other comments or questions before we start? Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Okay. So as the class says, our second class is from this idea to getting started. Okay. Now, I know that all of you, I think there's one of you that is new. So my name is Michael Plumstead, and I live in Perth, Western Australia. I'm an author, a researcher, blogger, businessman, business owner, business mentor, business anything. And I enjoy gardening, and I enjoy growing microgreens. But my favorite thing of all is being a trainer, being a guide for Get Set Up now. So we're now in class 2. Now, I'm just going to move my pictures out of the way so I can see you. There we are. Now, you're looking at the agenda, and if we look at the various aspects of the agenda, you are going to see a sort of an unclear picture of what's moving forward. But when you get to the end of the class, hopefully it will be very clear. So, you are all hoping to get started somewhere. So I think this class is going to be absolutely ideal. Now, the first step in this class is you must ask yourself, who is going to benefit from my idea? Who is going to benefit? Because I'm going to talk a little bit about this benefit. I mean, the benefit, you've got a purpose, and so who's going to benefit from this purpose? So this purpose is, it could be 1,001 different things. It could be fighting the declining conditions of our planet, or discovering climate change and communicating it. And it could be, about a pet. It could be about a garden. Whatever your purpose is, and you could list thousands and thousands of purposes, but there's only one that is yours. Only one that is yours. And you've got a reason for that particular purpose. All right. So as we said in the last class, true fulfilling happiness comes from giving back to others. That's why I start with this question. Who will benefit from your idea? Because you want that happiness. You want that contentment. Okay. So that's the first aspect. So who do you want to help? Write it down. If you've got your pad and pencil there, write it down, or you can wait till you get a recording if you wanted to. But how do you want to help? Okay, now that's a slight separate section. So now you've got who you want to help. You've got to remember your purpose and your own purpose from the last class. Now, how is going to be part of this class? Just broadly speaking, are you going to teach it? Are you going to do volunteer work to fulfill your purpose? Are you going to be a freelancer, a blogger, a writer? The broad how. Okay, the broad how, and we're going to be talking a lot more about that. But I want you to keep in mind that you are unique. Okay, please don't think that you can Google something and it'll come up with the answer. Okay, only you can come up with your purpose and your why. You Google for the how. Yes, you can come up with ideas on how to move forward. So now that you know who you want to do it for, and important, okay, very important. Now we start looking at this purpose that is probably a very broad purpose with an idea that you've got in your mind. Okay. So now we start to the process of bringing it down into some sort of substance, okay? And a really good way to do that is to answer that question on the screen. If you had 10 minutes to address the world, what would you talk about and why? Obviously, you're going to talk about your purpose, okay? And you're going to talk about the why of the purpose from class 1. But now you've got to start giving it some sort of substance, okay? And you now need to look and say, you know, okay, let me write a speech, or let me just go and sit in the garden and just talk it through aloud, okay? But that might be embarrassing if there are other people around, but think about it, because now your next step is you need to give it substance. And the best way is preparing a speech to give to the world. And so that's the next step for you, is preparing that. But, okay, don't forget your purpose, because your purpose is suddenly going to make you feel great, feel who you really should be feeling like, okay? So you need to be, as you can see from that image on the slide, you know, if you're the little kitty cat, you need to look into a mirror and see the lion when you start talking about your purpose. Really is, and then a really good analogy to use is that. And so you will know as you start preparing your speech and you start perhaps writing it down, or just in an audio sense, you will start to immediately achieving your path, okay, or your purpose, okay, but you'll find the path, okay, the path that allows you to be the greatest version of yourself, allows you to produce the fullest potential of who you are at this moment in 2021, okay. You know, and we really do need this in 2021. You know, we want to move forward in a really, really positive way. And we've got this unique opportunity that's here now. So the next thing after creating your speech is to bring that speech down to a one-liner sentence, a purpose impacting one-line sentence. Now, that doesn't have to encompass everything that your purpose involves, but it should be an aspect of that purpose. I'm going to give you examples later on in the class of that. But so you need to find an aspect that sort of resonates with you, really, because you know your purpose and you know that aspect's important. So maybe that one impacting one-liner is going to make a big difference. And so you need to do those. You need to do the things. Who you're serving, you know, who's you're going to benefit in, making the speech, bringing it down to a one-liner. Okay, and you will start feeling that that aspect of fulfillment already just by writing it. Right. So before we go on, having gone through those 3 steps, does anybody want any clarity or have any questions or anything at all?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Let's carry on. Right. How to research channels of communication. This is now really an important aspect. And I'm just feeling a little unsettled that that you understood that one question, that one-liner so easily, because it's an important part of the process. And but if you're quite happy with it, and that's fine. Okay, we can move on from there. Remember, there are a lot of companies that do one-liners. Okay, and sorry, I'm still harping on it, but you know a lot of companies that do one-liners. M&Ms, those M&M sweets, for example, melts in your mouth, not in your hands. Okay, so now that's telling you a lot about M&M. Okay, and but let's move on, and you can ask me perhaps later if you want anything more about the one-liner. Right, so the fourth phase in this particular class, or the fourth step in this class, you want to know fundamental things. And the most fundamental thing is, as you communicate, you do not want to market or sell or push things in people's face. Okay, that's one way to be highly unsuccessful in getting your purpose started. Okay, because maybe your purpose is about generating some money, but it doesn't have to be. Right? So the last thing you want to do is what you see so often out there in social media and magazine adverts and things, is that people are marketing at people. Don't want that. Don't want that. You first have to influence people. You first have to get them interested from a point of view, and maybe it's the one-liner sentence, okay, or maybe it's some aspect of your world speech that you gave, okay. So communication channels are how you connect with your stakeholders or your audiences or the people that are following you. The single most important thing to remember is to find and choose channels that your specific followers or stakeholders, what they're going to be called also, will be able to use as part of their day-to-day experience. So that requires a little bit of thinking about, which we'll do in this class. Okay, so you must know, first of all, who you want to reach, okay, and what their environment, their ecosystem is like, okay, and what sources of information they also enjoy. So it requires a bit of thinking, and then it'll require some experimentation, some trial and error. And so from here, you would actually move on. You wouldn't stop trying desperately to find the ideal market. Not from, you'll get a good feeling, hopefully, during this class. That so you are aiming to interact with these people in their world, not in your world, okay, in a way that instills trust in your messages that you are going to give out there. So, historically, there, as you can see on your screen, there used to be physical one-to-one meetings, okay, and they still can be, okay, and that could be a way to and so a lot of ideas and purposes and professions and things like that are one-to-one meetings. And so, but you can also have the one-to-one online as well, okay, but it's actually a one-to-one, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's less likely to happen in 2021 right now. Okay, then the second one on your screen is personal interactive. It's where you phone people, you Zoom people, you target certain social medias for that interaction. You set out there for that interaction with specific people and not groups of people. Okay, specific people. I mean, you phone somebody, you phone them. Okay, if you want a Zoom meeting, again, or a Skype meeting, it's usually one person that you want to talk to and that you have acquired, and we'll talk about that too. So the third thing is impersonal interactive. Now, these become also still very relevant in today's, it's like email. I send out an email to my followers every week about a topic that was really, heartfelt for me. Okay, it's like alternative health. And so I've written lots of articles that are on my website, and I send weekly emails, as some of you have experienced already, because I see you've signed up on that. But so that email is still very relevant, but you've got to keep your emails these days pretty short, and preferably with a link going somewhere. So email is still a possibility. And then you get the impersonal aspect of it, where you send out newsletters to people, or reports, or whatever it is, just a send out to perhaps people that are following you, and otherwise to a group of people who would expect you to do that anyway. So so those are broad, very broad aspects of how to move forward, with the old behind us, sort of thinking, well, that's what we always used to do, and they are still effective. There's nothing more effective than talking one-on-one with somebody. Okay, and remember that. Okay, even if it's only your voice, if you're not zooming on it, your voice has energy, your voice has power, your voice has the purpose behind it that you want, and that gives your voice tremendous motivation. So finally, talking one-on-one is one way to broaden your audience. Okay, so remember now that you are no longer marketing at people. Okay, you need to be sure that all your communications, no matter what they're going to be, they need to be about information. Okay? Need to be about something that your followers actually want to hear from that information. So you need to really enhance a reader or a listener, if you're going to do it via audio. You need to enhance that experience for them, and that's important. So the way we move forward now is that the interaction is about building a relationship. Okay, now if you're selling something, it's very relevant. If you're not selling something, you're moving forward with people joining you, you still are selling them the idea of joining you, and let's all do it together. Okay? So it's important to not become salesy. I don't know if that's a word or not, but you know what I mean. And so it's very important to look at the way you're going to communicate with this particular audience. Okay, and we will come up with a suggestion during this class as we move forward. So you can't use all channels that are available on social media. I mean, they're just too many. Okay, far too many. And so you need to understand, what does this one offer that this one doesn't, or is this one better for what I'm doing? And so that is part of the searching and on looking. And I will give you some suggestions, but remember, I don't know your purpose. Okay, I don't know what you've come up with. So I've got to encourage you to do quite a lot of this yourself. Okay, and there's no doubt on certain facts. For example, the mobile phone, the smartphone, which is already here, is the way forward. People are really, it's like, especially in the last 12 months, it's just grown astronomically, people interacting on their phone. Okay. So phones are probably going to be one of the devices that are being used, and the artificial intelligence on every doesn't matter whether it's a phone or a tablet or a Chromebook or your website, okay, is very, very powerful. Okay. And so as long as you're playing the game, you want to play it authentically, the AI will help you in those processes and put things your way and show your postings to people and wherever you're registered, then you'll be in. But if you are unsure and you're trying this and you're trying that and got this idea, that idea, okay, it's you need to have a single idea, and that's what you need to be focusing around when you are communicating with people. So you need to really engage people through relationship building and to work on the customer care aspect, the customer experience aspect. Remember that we, as senior people, we are leading the world into a whole new environment, a whole new society. Okay, we've come out of a consumeristic, selfish society, and we're now moving forward to help people. Okay, our main purpose is to get out there and help people one way or another. Okay, as I am doing right now, I'm at Get Set Up, a class, and we're doing subjects that will help people out there. And we are the leaders. We are the leaders. All of us sort of have reached retirement age. We are the leaders into a new society, a brilliant society that's going to emerge in time to come. Regardless of what happens with all the stuff you hear and written and conspiracy theories and all, there is going to be a new society, an unselfish society, and we are the leaders. So it's very important to take all this into consideration with your own purpose, your own idea, and where you are going to communicate with it. And now, there, you need to start out somewhere, and that somewhere. I remember in class 1, I told you to do some samples, regardless of whatever your purpose is, and your idea was to do some samples and start putting those samples out there. You know, if you're baking cakes, then put them out there. Okay, if you're writing blogs, put them out there. Okay. If you're giving consulting lessons on the internet, then put some out there. And put them out for free and get a feeling, get a feedback. Okay, remember I told you that. Now, so you, by the time you've reached here, you've done that or are going to be doing that quite soon. That's fine. Now, how to tell people about your idea? Basically, you've got 2 options. One is you can use a micro influencer. Okay. Now, there are pictures, and I'm going to come up in class 4 with an explanation on who these people are. Okay, and but they are people. They are all over 80 years old, and they all are communicating their purpose with a passion and very successfully. Okay, they all have over 1 million followers. And some of them only started 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, so they were well into their senior lead. So that's one option, and you can go onto Instagram and you can Google any one of these. All right, you could take a screenshot if you're out of this and go and look them up. You can look them up on Google and so on. You can find out about them if you so desire. But by using an influencer, you are going to, yes, you're going to spend money, but it's far, far, far more powerful than an advert if you were going to use an advert on social media to start getting your followers. Okay, so keep that in mind as an option. Okay, option 2 is you do it yourself. Okay, and absolutely no problem with that at all. It will be slower, but you will get going. Okay, so if you're going to spend some money, rather spend it on an influencer because people respond to these. Just imagine if you employ an influencer and they've got 1 million followers, so they put something about your product on their particular page, and 1 million people are going to see it, and a lot of them are going to say, if it's good for him, it's good for me. Okay, and off they go. So there is, but we don't have to do it. We can, and maybe for the first year, one does want to move and do it yourself. And so, yeah, you can do it yourself. You can, the word of mouth is very popular, and you just keep posting regularly. And we'll talk about that in this class as well. We'll talk about doing it yourself in this class. But I just wanted to get something, make you aware of that, because it could be a much faster route to where you want to get to. Okay, so how to take your first steps. I'm going to suggest that you actually start with Instagram, and there are lots of options. Okay? And you might decide, well, I don't know anything about Instagram. I know everything about Facebook, and so I'm going to use Facebook, and that's fine. Okay, use something that, if you are really convinced something's going to work for you, then use that particular social. If you think TikTok's going to work for you, and it does work for a lot of people, even Snapchat, they all work, and they all work well. Okay. I've chosen Instagram because particularly the age is more across the board. You get the youngies, but the bulk of Instagram users are sort of middle age, leaning towards more senior people. So I've decided in this course, but remember, you don't have to. You can use your own. So the first thing you need to do is to start developing content. Okay, remember, you've got your world speech, you've got your sentence, you've got your idea, your purpose, and now you want to start researching using Google University and start gathering content around your purpose, information that people who want to follow, who resonate with your purpose, they would want that sort of information, and that would be valuable information. So we're now looking at starting the process by researching content, okay, and putting it into storage, if you like, okay, and then once you've got a fair amount of content to communicate on social media, now you start communicating, okay, and you slowly start building a following, okay, and then you would follow people that are relevant to what you are wanting out of life. So you are resonating with certain people because they have a similar purpose or an aspect that relates to your purpose. And so you would follow them, and then more than likely they'll look at yours and they would possibly follow you back again. So remember, your content must talk about benefits. It must talk about benefits. It's not about salesy stuff. You never talk about salesy stuff. People will buy when they're ready to buy, okay? If you are selling something. So you start building a following on Instagram, and introduce yourself. We do a class on Instagram marketing. I don't do it. I suggest you take that class and and learn about marketing. There are basically 3 different categories in Instagram. There's the personal category, and then there's the influencer category, and then there's the business category in Instagram. And you know, if you're not used to Instagram, start with the personal. Just get a feel of what it looks like and where things are, and you do little postings and nothing serious, okay? And then when you feel a little bit more comfortable, then take the marketing class, a Get Set Up marketing class, and then decide whether to go join as an influencer or a business. I would suggest business to start with, okay? Because you are not an influencer yet. You might become one, okay? But you start on the business side, and there's certain aspects you've put together for that business style. All right, so maybe that's a place just to stop for a minute. Any questions? Turn your microphone on.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely, you're putting me on track.
Great. Okay. Okay, super. Thanks, Phyllis. Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Let's get back to class. Right. So now we're starting on Instagram, okay, and you're quite happy that that's a place where you're going to introduce your passion. You're going to introduce your idea, and you're going to decide at a later stage if you want. But if you're familiar with Instagram now, then go straight to the business and open a business account. It doesn't cost you, okay, it just gives you more, but then there is money involved, of course, because you're now going to market, and there's so you would be, you know, you would be wanting to then set up some sort of strategy or some sort of budget to be able to spend either on using influencers, which you can from the business class, you know, an influencer, a category of people who have now done it. They've got there. They've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers that they charge you to be part of. All right, so as a summary, looking up with this stuff, we're moving forward. We must be able to tell the world about your project, okay? So don't leave out that step because it seems too cumbersome, okay? This is all absolutely from my own personal experience. I'm not researching this theoretically from somewhere. I've been there, done that. I've started many businesses in my life, and I've failed in some businesses as well. So, you know, get to that point that that you can tell the world in 10 minutes. Okay? And then it's a battle to reduce your one-liner, your concept into a one-liner, but see it as a message that's going out there that a certain aspect of your following, okay, would be able to click in with that, okay. And in class 4, I'll tell you those successful influencers. I'll tell you what they use and their one sentences as well. So your building is going to engage people, and you need to make sure that you are authentic, that you reply to anybody who asks you any question, and even somebody's following you. You know, you can send them a message saying thanks, and you'll get this, I'm sure, in the marketing class as well. But you need to interact. It's finally, it's going to be a one-to-one. Remember what I said at the beginning? Yes, you market in whole big groups in Instagram, and you will join groups in Instagram, and you will then you'll share your posts in those Instagrams, and you'll share hashtags into other groups on Instagram. So all that will happen, and all, if you are posting once a day, and you're collecting a lot of photographs and images, and because you need those to post with as well, you will build a following, and that is the purpose. Okay, is that you need to start now in building a following. So start now with moving forward with gathering all your content and everything with it. Okay, I'm open to any questions. The next class is tomorrow, the same time, class 3.
Oh, is this on? Okay.
And I will send you an email. I hope, Lil, are you, and Phyllis, are you receiving my emails previously?
Yes,
Like
yes.
Yeah, okay. That's good. So I will send the link. And
7
if you
o'clock? No, what time? 9 o'clock. 9
Nine.
o'clock tomorrow?
nine
Oh, I'm
again.
sorry. New York time is 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's easy because you're only 12 hours behind us. So it's 9 o'clock here too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So thanks very much. You will receive the email you receive will look something like this, and I'll have some notes in here, and please give feedback. It's very important, particularly with a totally new class like this, new concept. And then when you book in for tomorrow's or something, apparently you get asked to invite a friend. Please do that, and especially if it happens to be sort of the other side of the world or down under, you'd say, because we're just launching here. But otherwise, certainly, from Australia as well. And don't forget, if you've messaged Kim while we've been talking, that's fine. She'll get back to you, or get somebody to get back to you. And but otherwise, you can send help@GetSetUp, and you can have an interaction. Build a relationship with GetSetUp. Tell them what you would like to see, what you wouldn't like to see. And maybe you want to become a guide. Same as what I'm doing. They'll welcome that, and I'd welcome that. So
I think it's just fantastic. I mean, when I found it just a few weeks ago, I mean, I couldn't believe that what's available. It's wonderful.
Oh, great. Nice to have that feedback.
And I tell everybody, I'll tell all my friends.
Yeah, that's great.
Sign up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely super. And if you're going to put anything on social media, put #GetSetUp. You see, then more people see it. And so yeah. Well, thanks for that, Phyllis. And I look forward to
the project I'm thinking about at this point is more for more local than for out of state or out of area. So that's a different approach that I have to take. But maybe maybe if I hashtag New York.
Yes, there is a hashtag.
So, yeah,
that'll be a good, great idea. Okay, a hashtag any of the cities that the others of you live in as well. Great idea, especially you want to get local people. So yeah. Okay. Well,
how does the hashtag work?
It just puts whatever you're posting into that particular group, which is called whatever the hashtag. So if it's hashtag New York, people can go there. Anybody in the world can go there and look at all the postings that have had New York mentioned in them. Okay. So yeah.
I hope you don't expect us to accomplish all this by tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I thought before you went to bed.
We're going to bed soon. You're just waking up. We're going to bed soon here.
Yes.
Lil, where are you? Where are you, Lil?
I'm in Florida, Jacksonville.
Good place.
Okay.
Good place to be right now.
Where
It's still freezing.
Where are you?
I'm sorry.
Where are you located?
I'm on Long Island.
Okay.
But I have a daughter that lives in Boca.
Oh, okay.
So I usually visit in the winter, but not this winter.
No, not this winter.
Did not visit anybody.
And Jeannie, where do you live?
I live in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan, right outside of Detroit.
Yeah. Right. And Phyllis, what about you?
I'm Long Island, New York.
Okay, here we are. You've got another one there.
Okay, everyone have a good evening. I'm getting ready for bed. I'm getting tired.
I'm going to have breakfast.
Good
Last
night.
week, last week
I-
this class was at 11 p.m. Y'all are lucky.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you're right.
Class number 2 last week was at 11 p.m.
And she was falling asleep in class.
Are they repeating it? Is that it? It's a
Mhm.
repeat. Oh, okay. That's
No,
interesting.
it was just then, it was the first week of the course, you see, and they hadn't timetabled it. But now it's always at 9 now. There's no repeats. Okay. You never repeat anything in
Okay.
everything is new. The class concept might be the same, but Bill will tell you today's, different things came up that never came up last week. Okay.
Interesting.
So
Michael, thank you so much.
it's a pleasure. Great having you all. Have a good night. Okay.